Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Age Television Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. on Central Time Zone, as we get to ride with each other home every single day. It's always a lot of fun. You can find us syndicated on television, Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. You know, Phillip, we're still doing all the social media sites as well. And we just added TikTok, so I don't know how that's going to be.
I haven't seen it there yet, but I haven't looked. I'll have to look. And it's amazing because I had one of my friends, and I was talking to him on the way here this morning, and he's in Georgia, and he said, "Tell me again, how do I find that?" And I went through that list that I have memorized it as well. But there's all kinds of ways. Just Donna's Age.
Facebook is a real easy way to find us. Facebook.com/D Fiesel. That's D as in Donna and Fiesel, my last name. So that's just a really good way to do it. Continue sending emails. They make my day. I'm telling you. Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. I've got my friend I've had quite a few years. You and I have been friends.
Yes.
Phillip Gilliland. He's with American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. And it's been a little while. Our schedules kept conflicting and everything. Coming in from South Carolina sometimes kind of messes it up.
And it's been a busy summer. It's been a good summer, but a busy summer.
Tell folks about American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. We've got some new listeners.
Oh, yeah. American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches started out in Texas back in about 2000, and now there are hundreds of churches scattered from Utah and New Mexico to North Carolina to Williston, Florida, and everywhere in between. And we're a small staff, and report to a board. We're a 501c3, but we are a fellowship because there's strength in the fellowship. And you know, we've learned that, especially through these natural disasters, that our strength, and it always seems like whenever one of them happens, we have a Cowboy church close by. So we funnel our resources into a church nearby, and we're able to, that was just something, a byproduct of this fellowship, but it's like our executive director tells us, and it's become our theme, that we are better together. Numbers really don't matter, but when it comes to helping somebody survive a disaster, those numbers really mount up. And I'm going to share a quick story if I can. This happened just a few weeks ago. We had a small Cowboy church up in North Carolina, and their outreach, their main outreach, and they're just a small church, but their heart is in the right place, and they had an incredible food ministry, and they were giving out food. And one of the people they gave out food to was a guy named Vic. Vic is a one-legged veteran. He lost that leg in one of the first desert wars, and he ended up with marrying a Filipino lady, and it may have been because that's where he was in the hospital, I'm not sure, but they had 3 children, and this, I remember it very well. It was on a Thursday, and his wife and 3 kids had not had their visas in order, and they needed to go back and fix that. Well, they saved up the money to do that, so they were back in the Philippines, and these people were living off of a meager existence. There was a bad car wreck. It killed his wife and all 3 of his children. He had no money to go there. He had no money to get them home. And we started and I called you because I know you know people. And none of those things kind of worked out. Well, we had to do something quick because over there they have a limit on how long they can wait before either burial or cremation. So the short version of that is, that afternoon I just called Jeff, our executive director, and I said, "Man, we needed some money," and I said, we don't have to fund all of it, but I said, if we give some of it, I will call a handful of our cowboy churches that are around me, Don Hutton, Tim Collier from Lonesome Dove, Wormy Wiseman from Crossover, and on down that list we go. And I called all those people, and the AFCC, the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, sent a check, and then all of us sent a check. And that was on a Thursday, and Saturday morning he left for the Philippines, went and got that, and was able to even transfer. But because I didn't realize how difficult it can be and it doesn't matter if they're cremated or if it's their body, it's expensive. And there's a process.
You got to go through all this red tape.
That's
too.
right.
Two different
they
governments.
did all of that. They did all of that, made it all happen, and it was all because of the fellowship. And it is a reminder to me how valuable our veterans are and how little the resources we have available to them. But it broke my heart. I've never met the man, but it hurt my heart to think here he lost his entire family, and he was just devastated. But to make it worse, then he couldn't get to where they were. He couldn't take care of their arrangements. So anyway, through that one little cowboy church where Brother Glenn Hale is the pastor, it's called Tar River Cowboy Church. It's in Louisville, North Carolina, which is not far outside of Wake Forest. We were able to make all that happen. And that's the value of the fellowship, is when something comes up. And it can be something here just as easy, something, and it has been, from tornadoes to hurricanes to floods in Texas and things to wildfires in North Texas and
Asheville,
oh,
North Carolina.
yeah. And that's pretty, through that. And this is the good, really, really good side of that. We're doing a pastor processing this weekend, and we were up there taking things to Western North Carolina and East Tennessee, and we were just busy getting things together, getting them up there. You were a part of that too, and. So this weekend we met a pastor of a cowboy church up there named Lewis Gibson, and he's just a wonderful guy, and he's going through the process, and they're they've already affiliated with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, and it came about because we were where the Lord sent us to help some people that was really having trouble, and it wasn't me, it was all these group of people, Curtis, and he carried the chuck wagon and cooked and stayed up there for multiple days, and then we hauled load after load up there, and what's the young lady's name that was at the mall?
Kaylee Johnson.
Yeah.
I was about to mention her because I'm gonna tell you, she just loves Wormy.
Yeah.
And so what happened with the Gadsden Mall right here, Gadsden, Alabama, is they raised a lot of food and just all kinds of stuff for the victims of the hurricanes. But Taylor called and said, I can't get it there.
Yeah.
She said, we're just sitting with a whole bunch of stuff here at the mall. And she said, do you think Phillip Gilliland will help? And I said, of course he'll help. You. Yeah. And then Wormy comes, this big truck.
He got it, carried it up there.
So
he had room for it, and it all works out. It's amazing how the Lord leads you, the Holy Spirit leads you through these paths to accomplish what His will is. And He wants us to look out for each other. He wants us to help each other. He wants us to be vigilant in supplying each other's needs, and when there's trouble. He wants us, He loves for us to come together in any kind of fellowship, but especially in response to something really bad. And that was a great opportunity, and there's all these side benefits, like I get to meet this guy, Lewis Gibson, and I've been up there, met him and his wife. They're really wonderful people. And I'm excited for them to go through the process, and of course we have another one, Robert Judd and his wife from Monticello, Kentucky, is going through it, and then Steve Turner and his wife Kim from down at the lower end of the Sequatchie Valley in Tennessee, they're already affiliated, but we're going through that process with them as well. And that's just the beginning, and because in October we have a whole other list to go through, and I'm probably just very excited about that list because some of those are young pastors and they've never pastored a church before. So it's always good, and they come and they're scared. Now these guys that we're going to have this weekend, they've been pastoring. You're not going to scare them. They have seen everything. When you've pastored a church for a while, you've dealt with everything. I mean, it just happens. But this group of young guys is coming, and they'll go through it. They're scared to death because they think we're gonna ask them some deep theological questions that they won't know the answer to. But that's not the it's not. I tried to tell them.
Not tricking anybody.
No, it's not a test, and we just do it to get
You tell
to know
me a
it.
test, and I'm going to go big.
Yeah, but you can tell them it's not a test, but it don't matter. They think it's a test, and it's a wonderful time though. When it's all over, that you can see the sigh of relief on their face. But it's these are exciting times because we're experiencing this tremendous growth in the Cowboy Church movement. In some places where you really didn't see it coming, like in Utah. Most people out there are of a different faith, and but boy, people are flocked to these cowboy churches out there like you wouldn't believe, and they're just growing. And
I totally get it. When we were living in Alabama, this is where we went to church. It was just getting to the community and all those things. But that's not the only thing. You felt comfortable, and in a real good way. I didn't feel like I had to dress a particular way.
Yeah.
And I love the way you guys handle the offering as well.
Yes. We don't pass the offering plate.
That always made me nervous when they would start passing, especially when I was divorced, and they would pass the plate around. Well, it's almost like people's eyes were on you to see what you're putting in that plate, and it just made me so nervous.
Well, it shouldn't be that way because and we figured out that the thing about Cowboy Church is to take away the barriers that keep people from, whether that's the clothes you wear or whether it's the offering plate. So we put a little barn at the back of the church, and if you want to put something in it, great, because we hope you do, but we're not going to pass a plate around in case that there's somebody there that doesn't have anything to put in it. We absolutely don't want to embarrass anybody or make it any. I mean, let's think of it like this: if you're a visitor and you come into a church that's got 200 people in it, they're passing the offering plate, and you don't have something to put in it, you might feel a little less than adequate, and that's doesn't make you any less because you don't have something to put in it. So we just don't do it. We just don't do that.
Well, you intrigued a lot of people and a lot of business folks here in Gadsden as well, and not even the Cowboy Church.
Yeah.
And so Kaylee Johnson is one of those. I mean, anytime they come into any kind of a need whatsoever for the community, they always think about you guys.
Well, and I'm glad because a lot of it started back years ago during COVID, when we were, with the help of Bobby Ledbetter, whose place we're at right now. Bobby helped us tremendously. We couldn't have done it without him.
You know what Bobby always says about that? We're just a good team.
Yeah, and he's right.
You really are. You guys are a great team.
But he helped us when we were feeding thousands of people around North Alabama in 5 different counties, and it was something I'll never forget, because if you've never carried somebody a bag of groceries to a car that were living in that car, you don't know what it's like. And not only did I experience that, but I watched my 2 youngest boys experience that. And it had a profound effect on their life. And so anytime, and we're big about young people. We do a lot of, we do camps, and it's our single biggest expenditure is our young people. we do one that's called the AFCC camp. Matt Knowles and his wife Mallory lead that. It's down just out of Birmingham near Calera, and we have hundreds of young people that go there, and man, it is. They come back. Every time they do, they bring a revival back to the church with them. And then we do, most of our churches now do their own for kids that don't get to go for whatever reason. They can't be gone overnight, or they're not comfortable being gone overnight, or their parents are not comfortable. Then we do one at our church. We call ours at the Trading Post, we call it the Warhorse Camp. And, we've had this. We just finished that back in July, right before school started, and we had 75 kids.
Oh wow, that's a lot of kids.
It was amazing, and it's always a lot of work, and it's always so much fun, and I don't miss a day of it. It is just, and it takes a whole group of people in the church to pull that off, because we kept them there overnight we had them for 3 nights. And man, it was great. We had plenty of people there watching over things, and it was just good. It was good.
Absolutely.
The first one we done, which was last year, we had 21 baptisms of young people.
I remember that. We were going there.
Yeah, it was amazing, and we had several this time too. Not that numbers are important, because sometimes it's just about spiritual growth or discipleship, or it's about other things. But I had a young man that I baptized that was under foster care, and he just had a rough life, and he shared all that with me, and I got to baptize him at the end of that. He's a good kid. I think he just had some hard circumstances. And we live in a world today when there's a ton of these kids that have hard circumstances, and it wasn't by their choice. It was by poor choices made by others that have gotten them there. But we still have the opportunity to be their encouragement, and that's what we sure want to do.
Well, I'm noticing too, out in the communities, community leaders are actually seeking you guys out. I know rodeo out there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we had that happen this year. They came looking for a place to have it, and we let them do that at our place, and we figured out what our capacity is. I mean, we had enough room, but we used every bit of the room we had for parking and putting it on. And those are things that are so important. You say, well, what has that got to do with the gospel or spreading the gospel? Well, it's the platform. It's the outreach. Because right in the middle of that, I rode that old paint horse in and shared the gospel right in the middle of the rodeo. They took a break, said it's intermission, and I get to go in, and I wallered up on that old horse and managed to go in there and share a Bible story with them. But that arena is it's like the chuck wagon. The arena and the chuck wagons are our greatest assets for outreach. They're just tools for outreach. You can do it with other things, but those are the two things that we have found work so good for us.
Well, I got to mention this. Okay, so my radio show, I had a radio show and television show, and it was at a place in Jackson County, Alabama, and so I wanted to have a ribbon cutting. And so I mentioned to you I'd like to have a ribbon cutting, and so the Chamber of Commerce was highly involved there. Yeah. And here I am just going all over the place saying the Cowboy Church is going to be there and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And so what was so interesting is the two women with the Chamber of Commerce there talked to Phil, because they were afraid I was going to get upset, like not enough people show up. Yeah. And they said, no, Phil, tell Donna, I know she's ambitious, but tell Donna that it's going to be good to have 10 people there, so don't have a lot of food, because they won't show up. And I said, I think there will be. And I told Phil, I said, no, there's going to be a bunch of people there. That was a record. They couldn't believe it. They were just like over 400 people.
And that chuck wagon was I think
That
it
was the
was the
reason
magnet.
they
It
came.
was the magnet.
That did it.
The chuck wagon, I mean, it's not just Dutch oven cooking, it's an authentic chuck wagon. So when you unload that thing and then you start taking the pots and pans out of it and you set the fly up over it, it's the real deal.
Well,
And
the owner of the building was afraid of fire marshals coming. There were so many
Well.
people coming in, and she's like, "Do you think we're okay?" And I said, "Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce has already looked into this, so
Yeah.
we're fine." They were gracious too. The Mountain Island Chamber of Commerce had absolutely fabulous
Oh, yeah.
people out there.
that was a great
But
day.
they came in, and it's like their mouths were this big. They were walking
Oh, yeah.
through there. We've never had a ribbon cutting
Yeah.
this many people.
Well, you know, the Lord bless it. I think if you do anything and you do it for the right reasons, and you put your heart into it, He wants to bless us. His desire is to bless
The
us.
whole thing about it is people, they want to promote their own self. And
Yeah.
I've never promoted myself because I don't feel like I'm worth promoting. So I was promoting them and the lady who owned the radio station building.
Yeah.
So I wanted, and the Chamber of Commerce. So that was my three vital things right there.
Yes.
And if I promote you guys, it just,
Well,
I get to reap benefits from it too.
and Curtis Chesser, who is my go-to chuck wagon guy, he is still my go-to chuck wagon guy, and I thank the Lord for him because he's been. Whenever we're getting ready to have a fall gathering, the last Saturday in September at the Trading Post, and all I have to do is say, Curtis, this is what we're doing, and he'll say, how many wagons do you think we need? And I'll say, well, here's how many people I think will be there, and he'll say, well, we'll get three. We'll have one that cooks all the meat. We'll have one that cooks all the vegetables. We'll have one that cooks all of the desserts, and they'll cook those cobblers in.
Oh man, the cobblers would die for it.
Oh, they'll kill
The
you.
meat is too.
Yeah, they'll kill you. I promise you, they are so good.
Oh, you didn't get enough, Don.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They feed you like you're on
Like
a
you're
cattle drive.
starving
Yeah,
or
it's like
something.
you're going to work all day in the
And
hot.
you'll eat it too, 'cause
Oh
it's
yeah,
good.
you can't stop eating. It's great, and we still. I think we got three for the fall gathering, and we're looking for that to be a
Now,
big
when is the
deal.
fall gathering?
That's the 27th of September at the Trading Post, and we'll have a Cowboy challenge that day. It'll start about 10 or 10:30, and then I have a good friend who, his name is Dalton Darnell, who's coming from 310 Ranch Life, and he's going to speak and do some rope demonstrations, and then we'll have lunch, and we'll end up out in the arena with a Cowboy challenge, I think about 2 o'clock, and we ordered some nice buckles to give away for the winning team, so it should be good. It should be
Did Curtis
good.
ever tell you about when he and I met? And so I knew about Cowboy Church, okay, and I loved it, and I loved having you on the show, and it was just, I look forward to every single show. And so I said, the only thing, Curtis, is I said, I don't have cattle, I don't have horses, I don't have, he said, I thought you had these.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I have these. I said, does that count? And he said, it would count even if you didn't have these.
Yeah, yeah. No, not, when people ask me, say, well, what do you do at Cowboy Church? Do y'all have cattle?
You don't do guns and salute and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that's
No.
I've been asked that before.
I know,
What do y'all
I
do
know.
there? Instead of saying amen, do they shoot guns?
Well, it's
No.
The thing is, it's still church. It's most people don't understand. They think that it's something sacrilegious.
Like horses ride through the aisle? I've
No.
heard that a million times.
And there's
no.
I'm going to say there's 75% of the people that come to Cowboy Church that don't own a horse and are not going to own a horse. They just like the church. They like simple church with no barriers, and that's why people
That's why
flock
they
to
like
Cowboy
it.
Church. And I'm good with that. It's a lot of people, and I'm at the age where I can kind of say the same thing. It's like church was back in the 50s and
That's
60s.
what I said the first time
Yeah,
I went.
yeah. So, I like that. I like it that, we're not over complicating things. And Now we do have a screen, and we do put scripture up on it, and we do put the words to music on it, but our music's a little different too. It's not. Sometimes it may be Western bluegrass, or it might be Southern gospel with stringed instruments. We don't have songbooks, and we don't have pianos, and we're not going to. We'll manage with what the Lord
Do you
gives.
know how many women fight over the piano in church?
Oh yeah,
A lot.
yeah.
I
It's
was kind of glad to see that.
yeah. We don't have to worry about those arguments of which side of the church the organ goes on and which side the piano goes
Oh,
on.
how about
'Cause
carpet?
we don't have carpet either. We have a concrete floor, and Lord knows people will tell you in our church. I give every kid whatever amount of candy they want. I buy it. I go every week and buy a batch of candy, and all these little kids flock around me, and I love it. And I just give them all kinds of candy, and sometimes they spill it on the floor, and it's no big deal because it's concrete. And when we had a baptizing a couple of weeks ago, started out to baptize 2, ended up baptizing 4 in that horse trough inside the church, and there was water all over the place. And I said, man, that's great. It didn't hurt a thing. It's concrete. It dried up. And
I should have concrete on every room of my house.
I'm telling you, if I were building a new house today, I would have a concrete floor. Now I might have it stamped, or
You do things.
yeah, I might have
They
it.
look good. Some of them actually
I would
look like
never
granite.
I would never have a carpeted floor again. We've replaced all of it in our house with hardwood, and I love that. But if I were building one today, I would build one with a concrete floor and build it on a slab. A barn dominium is what I would build. But and I may do that yet. You never know. But that's just the way our churches are, and because that arena is so valuable, we're extremely excited to be. We're about ready to order the cover to go over our arena, so we'll have. This year the weather has really wreaked havoc on us, but I think as the Lord tells us, I've been trying to get y'all to cover this arena. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you don't, and He has blessed us with so much rain. But we're going to make it. We're going to get it done before winter time, and that'll be good.
We're going to have to go to a commercial break, but I did want to mention this one thing. So there was a guy at a local church, pastor, and they were having an event. He wanted me to come by and talk to him about it and do a taping. And I did. And I walked in. The first thing I noticed is they had this carpet, but they had squares of all these different colors. And I mentioned that. I said, this is efficient right here. I said, something happens, like I spill something on him, which I would. I said, spill something on him, you just take up the square, don't you? He said, that's not the reason we did it. And I said, why did you do it? And he said, well, we wanted carpet because of the maintenance. And he said, they started arguing with it amongst themselves about what color. He said, stop it right now. And so he said, we're going to get the kind that you just put all these different colors together. We're going to keep unity here.
Yeah.
So we did.
Yeah, I get it.
I just went for the concrete thing.
Yeah.
Myself. Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there, okay?
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Good afternoon, we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. That's on the Central Time Zone, as we get to ride home with you in the afternoon. I just tried to treat Bobby Ledbetter. I tricked him once.
Yeah, I was here.
You saw us tricked him a couple of times. You know, back when he was having, this is Bobby Ledbetter with Twin Cities car sales. They're located right here in Gadsden, Alabama. It is worth your drive from wherever.
Absolutely.
And he's getting people from all over the country.
Well, he's got me twice, but both times, I mean, I have been blessed to have bought 2 vehicles here. They were far better than I even thought they were. They have turned out to be the best thing I ever done was doing business with Bobby.
It's the best thing. If we get all of our vehicles, and by the way, Phil bought a Ford pickup truck. And so anyway, he loves this truck, and I do too. As a matter of fact, I've kind of taken it over.
Yeah.
You thought I would, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I really do love it. And of course, my vehicle is from here as well. So, and also the unity with you guys, with your friends.
Oh, we are.
The unity of feeding folks, I think,
that probably helped it a bunch because,
food always does.
man, you could see his heart because he was there. And he not only did he sponsor it, he was there and worked every bit of it. He worked as hard as any of us did, handing out plates and things. And man, you could see his heart, and he has a heart for helping people and doing right. He's a good Christian man, and you can think what you want to about used car dealers, but I'm telling you, this guy's different. He's
There's
the
a talk
different
show
one.
host I
Yeah.
would spend time with too.
Oh, that's right.
And everything. But what I wanted to mention too is we live in South Carolina, Abbeville, South Carolina. And so I just drive his vehicle around and I keep a magnet on the side of the car.
Yeah.
So many people there have said, why do you do that?
Yeah.
When he is all the way from Alabama, and he's beginning to snag some of those people.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
And I'll say it's worth the drive, believe me. But I don't start out with the great cars he has, huge selection. He takes, they're always up to par. If something is wrong with one of them, it takes a few minutes to
That's
fix
right.
it. And so he does stand behind the product, but that's not what I lead with. I lead with what he's done in the community. So the school systems here now in Etowah County.
Yeah.
So, and it's been a huge help to folks in Fort Payne.
I knew when he came here that he would change this part of Etowah County because of the kind of guy he is. People just don't realize what he brings to the table because he's a businessman, but he's one of the best and most fair ones you'll ever run across.
Well, the simple truth is this, okay? He believes in serving the community, helping the community, and it's always going to come back.
Yes.
It always will. Toys for Tots, he's been helping them for a decade now.
Yeah.
Maybe probably longer than that. So as a matter of fact, LaRue Hardinger is going to be coming sometime today for the taping. And she's with the Toys for Tots Foundation.
Good.
And I'm going to tell you what, she just said one time I was going to help her. See, I don't have a grandchild, and my son is like 40-something years old, so I don't know about what toys are flying right now. So Rue got in contact with me. She said, I want you to go with the shopping. And I said, wow, what to get? Nothing. And I said, but you're going to need something, aren't you? And she said, yeah. She said, we're going to need something. We're going to have to go with several trucks or something. So I just called Bobby, and I said, Bobby, they would like to rent something.
Yeah.
And I said, if you have something, you have access to a big truck, something they could use. Of course. You wouldn't take a dime for it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I wouldn't expect it. I would have guessed that about it.
And LaRue was just going nuts trying to get money. She said, no, we need to rent it.
Yeah.
And he said, no, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Oh, that's what he does, and thank the Lord for guys like him, and we may be in a world that don't recognize that like it needs to, but I'm telling you, I recognize it. When we were buying that last vehicle back, it wasn't that long ago, maybe 6 months ago, we were buying a truck, a Ford truck for my 17-year-old, and we looked at one or two, and we left, and we waited a week or two and come back. It wasn't his fault. We didn't know exactly what we wanted. And then my son decided, man, that Ford truck, and Bobby had several of them, and we came down, we started to look at all of them, and Bobby said, look at this one right here. He said, I drove this one home from Fort Payne. But here's what he said. He said, I wouldn't be afraid to buy that for my son. And when he said that, I knew he was telling me, you need to buy this one. And we did. We have been thrilled over it. I mean, he has had the best time out of that truck. We have had no issues with it whatsoever. And it was at a very fair price. Very fair.
Phil has to remind me, my husband Phil, he has to remind me that it's his truck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just like the way it drives.
Oh yeah, my wife drove a truck for a long time until she's teaching about 40 minutes away from home, and she wanted something to get her a little better gas mileage. When we went to see Bobby, and it took him a week or two. He said, I think I've got what you want. And we gave, and you can tell him that if he doesn't have what you want, you can tell him what you're looking for, and it may take him a couple of weeks, but he will find it.
He has access.
And he found that one, and it was one owner in really good shape, and that's been probably 3 years ago now, and she's still driving it, and we've had no trouble out of it whatsoever.
Well, and I wanted to mention this too, school starting back, college coming back. You want to make sure your kids have something reliable.
Yes,
Out
yes.
on the road, something that's going to be safe and low mileage, that kind of thing. So you need to check him out. Go to BobbyLedbetter.com. You can get more information and call them
Yeah.
anytime you want to. They've got a huge staff here. And that's
Oh, they
another
do,
thing.
and they're
The staff
all
is highly
great.
trained.
They're
friendly.
very good, very good.
Yeah, and they really do know their stuff. Now I wanted to ask you about weddings.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because Cowboy
That's what she had
church
been wanting to do.
wedding is a little different too.
Well, sometimes it is. We've done, you
you have
know,
worn a suit one, haven't you?
I did. I wore one not long ago, but it was kind of in a fancy venue, and the lady actually lived down the street from me and has ever since we moved to Grant. And she's just a precious lady, and she's a little older, and I got so tickled. And she's expecting a baby, and her husband had never fathered a child. She had 2 boys by a previous marriage, awesome boys, and they've worked around the farm for me. But she was marrying this great guy, and they wanted me to do the wedding, and I was blessed to get to do it. Her dad's my age, and I think the world of him. He's just a great guy, and of course the boys are awesome boys of hers, and I wore a suit to hers. I had to get it. I had to go have it let out a little bit, the waist of the pants.
I don't think I've ever seen you in a suit.
Well, I don't like to wear them, but I'll make exceptions when it's something. If somebody needs me to, I can.
I didn't see it.
I had to let the pants out about an inch, but other than that, I made it fine. But I'm so happy because they're expecting a baby, and she's a little older to be expecting a baby, but I know the Lord's going to bless them, and I'm thrilled for them. But a lot of the weddings, and we were out out at Pisgah Saturday and went by the old gin. I said, I was telling my youngest one, Jacob, I said, now, I've done several weddings right there, and it's just an old gin, but it's really neat and nice, and they cleaned it up, and it's not air conditioned or anything, but man, when we do a wedding, we use traditional vows, but sometimes they will brand the hide, put their brand or their initials on a cowhide or something, or even just a piece of barnwood. They may put their brand on it together, and that's always kind of neat. But I don't mind that. That's I like that part of it. We have some man. I couldn't believe I've got a book. I've listed all the weddings in. I couldn't believe how many of them I've done in the last 20 years. But the other thing is funerals, and that's the one thing that is never fun to talk about. But when you get this age, you do a lot of funerals.
We've already made a pact. I said, if I
Yeah.
go first, you're going to handle the funeral.
Yeah. Well, I've done, and I've buried some really good friends lately, and I've got some that's under hospice care now, some that I see every week, 2 ladies that I love dearly, Ann and Sandy. Sandy has incurable disease, and Ann has dementia. I'm going to see her after I leave here today, and she is bedfast, and half the time she doesn't know me, but when she does, she just lights up, and somebody needs to do that, and I'm so thankful for places like hospice and people that do such a good job at Shepherd's Cove.
Shepherd's Cove is awesome.
I was there several times. I've been there lately with a dear lady and another friend that passed away there. It seems like I go in and out of there regularly, but they do such a fantastic job. And in fact, they handled both of my parents' funeral last days, and so those are, and I run into Don and Judy Hutton. Don's a pastor of Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church. Just walked into a restaurant last Friday. I had just left a funeral, found out about this young lady whose funeral is today, and I told them, I said, man, this gets heavy thinking about and so I sat down and had lunch with them, and we got done. He prayed for me, and he knew I needed some encouragement, because sometimes that constant dealing with grief and watching people that you care about hurt and go through it, it'll get you weighed down. So sometimes you need. And then yesterday morning, I hadn't talked to Barry Falk, who pastors True Grit Cowboy Church up in Ardmore. I hadn't talked to him in a year at least, maybe 2. And he called me right out of the blue, and he just told me he had me on his mind, and we talked for 45 minutes, and he prayed for me, and I got up today. I'm ready to go. That better together doesn't just mean organization. It means people, and the people that you're around that can encourage you. And even better for me, it's the people that I'm around that I'm given the opportunity to encourage. Life is hard, and we should all be looking to somebody that we could try to help a little bit, encourage a little bit, share the gospel with them, or share just some of Jesus' love with them, because we live in a world that is really in bad shape. But we can change that world a little bit at a time when each one of us begin to share a little bit of Jesus' love at a time.
Well, there have been several times I had situations with some of my family members, and some things you didn't know about. And so I'd be in church, and you would just happen to get the right scripture.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know it, but I'd be all down. I'd not even feel like going to church because of the situation that could arise. And then you would come up with something, and it would just, and then on the way home, Phil and I would talk about it, and I'd say, I'm going to have to send Phil a message. I didn't give you details. But I didn't. Philip, thank you so much for what you said.
Yeah. Well, and I never knew. I thought half the time I thought it was for me. I'd be preaching to myself or thinking about all the things how that could apply to my own life. I never think about how it affects anybody out there. That's not what I try to think about what the Lord gives me, and most of the time I'll pretty well know by the first of the week, what He's given me as a subject, and then I can kind of go and follow along and find the scripture and do the research to go along with it. I don't ever just open the book and say, oh, that looks like the one. I pray about it. I try to know where I'm headed with it. But a few times I've been the last minute, and a lot of times the subject really just didn't change. It was just the place where I was going to read from in the Bible changed. I would find something. I said, well, this is a little more pertinent than the first one I had, or sometimes that changes at the last, but rarely does the subject ever change. And I've just been preaching a group of sermons about fear and courage, and it's the one thing, and I've really learned a lot about it. But there's so many things in our life that there's a fear factor to. And this started a few weeks, actually it's probably been 6 weeks ago, and I was spending the night in a hotel down in South Alabama, and I was going to preach in a church that morning, and there was a fight broke out between 2 young men in the door of the hotel on Sunday morning. And I'm headed to church, and they had this cute little girl about 4 or 5 years old right in the middle.
She had to see that.
And I waited in there and separated these guys. And got that little girl, got right up next to me. She realized I was not mad. I was trying to help, and man, she got right up next to me, and the Lord worked all that out. But I was amused at the fact that there was a clerk there who was a young man, and he jumped over the counter and ran, and I was behind him, But when he got to the fight, he stopped. I didn't. And when I got in between them, they stopped. I guess they thought, man, we can't beat this old man up. We'll sure be in trouble. I guess that's what they thought. But,
You probably helped them see the little girl, though. And this is something else. That little girl is going to remember the situation. I don't care. I remember things when I was 2 and 3 years old.
Yeah.
And it's profound. She's going to remember that the rest of her life.
Well, she might, and that was probably the thing that, because I'm looking at these two young, robust young men, and they're just going at it, and I'm thinking, good grief. And there that little girl she wasn't 5 feet away from them, so I just grabbed her and got in between them, and I didn't get a scratch on me. I mean, I'm about to go preach, and I'm ready for church, and I knew then. I said, the young guy that jumped the counter and started, he was caught in the fear factor, and then I began to study. Man, the Lord began to speak to me about all the things in life that there's a fear factor. When you move to South Carolina, move into a strange neighborhood, there is a fear factor to that. You just have to trust the Lord that that's where He wants you to be, and He, when you figure His will out for your life. But there's a fear factor to so many decisions that you make during the day.
We're bombarded with decisions now.
Oh yeah.
Well, like social media. Electronics, all those things have not really solved anything.
No, they make it more
added
challenging. You're right.
Absolutely. Now, as you're talking to people out there, and you're talking to a lot of people every single day, what is the biggest fear factor people have right now?
Well, I think,
It's a combination of stuff.
It is, and it depends on what age group you're in. I look back at my church, and there's 7 ladies in my church that have buried a husband, and all of them have buried a child. And I think when you're older and you're alone, and I see that with these ladies that I go see that have health issues, and that one of them more especially, she's really dependent on me for a lot. But she called me Saturday night, and her health is really bad. I mean, she can't do anything.
One night.
And it was something like she needed the battery change. She didn't know what was wrong with the smoke detector because it would just beep.
That's what always probably looks after all those things.
And so I said, it's the battery. I'll come change it. And it's little thing. There is, but she was thinking she was going to be going to, an assisted living place, but now she's realized, and I knew it all along, I just didn't have the heart to tell her. She's realized that, man, I'm going to have to go to a nursing home because I can't get up and take myself to the bathroom. I can't bathe myself. I can't do any of these things that in assisted living you have to do. And so she's rethinking all of this and trying to prepare for it, but nobody wants to give up their independence. Nobody. And just because you're old or your health is bad doesn't make you any less of a person, doesn't mean that you don't want to enjoy what time you have left. And I see so many things with more especially, and there's a lot of them come to me for counseling, and I'm not a counselor, and I always try to send them to some professional, but they flock in and out of my little old saddle shop, and I'm glad they do. But if they're a person that's alone and they're above 50, because God didn't mean it to be that way. Number one, that's not the way it was meant to be. A man was designed to lead the woman and to look out and protect and take care of her. That was his design. And when something happens that interrupts that or mess, it doesn't matter what caused it. the results are still the same. And that's hard for a lot of ladies to deal with.
Well, and it's harder now too because we don't have as many kids as we used to have.
No.
There was a time. I remember when my grandmother, both my great grandmothers, when they were sick, all the daughters helped.
Yeah.
And the daughter-in-laws, and there was like 11. And of people that were constantly in
And
out.
that was biblical. That's what the Bible told us to do.
You have to, no matter what.
Yeah,
You've got to do that.
and I'm going to say this, and this is not to slam churches because we're a church and we pastor a church. But if churches had always done what they were supposed to do, we wouldn't be dependent on all these government agencies to do what they're
I
doing.
agree with that because my grandparents, we always talked about this. During the Depression,
Yes.
they would find a need. The church actually found a need in the community, and the people in the church would
Yeah.
help, whether it was food or putting a roof on a house
Yeah.
or whatever.
All of those things. I remember this lady that lived in a block potato shed up the road from where I was raised. I've told that story many, many times, and I really didn't know her. It was a generation before me, but Brother Leonard Mathis, when he was dying, and I did his funeral, and he was telling me this story about this lady, and he said he didn't remember what happened to her husband, whether he got killed in an accident or what, but she had 4 children, and they lived in a potato shed that had no windows. It was a concrete block potato shed, one room with a wood stove in it. And she said they survived there, and he said the community would bring them things, but said she would go out and pick blackberries and poke salad and things that she
That's
could
good
cook.
food, actually.
Oh yeah. And Brother Leonard told me the story as a small boy. He was playing on Drum Creek, and she was down there picking blackberries, and he said she was singing hymns, and she had on a bonnet and an apron, and she had some old socks that were ratted out and to protect her arms a little bit from picking blackberries in an empty syrup bucket. And he said she kind of got in the spirit. He said, I thought it was funny. She didn't know I was anywhere around. I was kind of hiding behind these trees and listening to her sing, and I thought it was funny because she didn't know I was around. And he said,
Like you do when nobody's around.
and she knelt down and began to pray. And he said that she prayed for every person on that road and called their name out, called their children's name out, and begged God to bless them. And every one of them had it better than she had it. And he said it was in July, and he said there was a breeze come up off of that creek and hit me, and he said it was so powerful it scared me, and I turned and ran away. And he told me when he was dying, getting ready to go home to heaven, he had pastored multiple churches, won hundreds of people to the Lord. He said, I would have never done that if it hadn't been for that old lady and the prayer I heard her pray on the creek that day. And it had a profound effect on my life, and I didn't even know it. I didn't see it, but I heard him tell it. And I watched him tell me that on his deathbed with tears streaming down his eyes. He said, I would have never made it if it hadn't been for that lady.
You didn't even know. You didn't even know. Those are the true ones.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there. Those are the honest ones. 1 minute left in this segment. How can folks find out more about American Fellowship of Catholic Churches?
You can go to our website. It's AmericanFCC.org, or you can email me at Phillip with 2 L's dot Gilliland GILLILAND at AmericanFCC.org. Either way.
Get in contact with us. Continue sending emails, by the way. And that's Donna at donnasedge.com, and I'll get information to Phillip there
Yes,
as well.
that's
but
right.
Thank you so much for being with me.
Oh, my
As
pleasure.
always. As always. And thank you guys so much for watching. Continue sending emails and continue telling your friends about us. We definitely appreciate that as well. You take care. See you next time.